How are things going with your kiddos at home? Well, today I wanted to share some ways that you can help your kiddos find their new norm, help them discover how to use technology in a positive way, and maybe even help you out in your current business, or maybe even start to dream up a new business of your own. Hey everyone, I'm Yang Pratt. I am the head content CPR coach here at Amplify Your Awesome. And we're all about helping you take all the awesome parts of you and spreading it out across the world in a big way. How do we do that? We focus on the content you have already created or the content that you're creating now because you're showing up and you're serving others. So one of the things that I have been thinking about for the past week or so is, with kids being home now and some people having access to school, like homeschools, some people having distance learning through their educational institutions, what are some alternatives to that? Because going to school all day, especially when you're at home and there's really no place to go, can get a little bit overwhelming. So I wanted to come share some resources with you and really talk about some ideas that I've been thinking about to help you with your kiddos. So first of all, if you are joining me live or you're catching the replay, let me know just below, let me know how things are going. Are things smooth sailing in your house right now? Could you use some help with your kiddos, with homeschooling? What is it that you need right now that I could help you provide for your kiddos? So the first thing I want to tell you is I am working on a resource guide, which is going to be on my website probably later today. And I'm going to make sure I email my list of people who have raised their hand and requested something free from us or who have taken our classes. I'm going to be emailing them first to let them know when their resource goes live. If you don't happen to be on our email list right now, reach out to me. Either say something below or send me a message after we wrap up here. And I'm happy to let you know when that goes live because there's so many amazing things that I've seen. I've been quietly observing over the past week or so as things kind of change daily, sometimes hourly, with this new norm, right? The social distancing, with closures of businesses, with shifts and pivots in businesses. I have seen actually some really extraordinary and some really creative ways that business owners and people really who've thought about having a business are now showing up to serve others at a higher level. So a couple of years ago, I started a business called Our Young Creators. And I think it was kind of before the curve of parents really needing a way to divert their kids' attention from consuming information on devices like their phones or tablets or even their computers and turning some of that time into time to explore and learn and create. Well, now that we're here in this reality, that seems to be the thing that so many parents have been asking me about because that's where I started really in this online space is bringing my kids into my own business, showing them some really kind of techie, nerdy skills, which I love, and then them going out into the world and providing those services for other people and getting compensated for those skills. Now, you might be thinking, I have little itty bitty kids. What are they going to do? Well, it's time to get creative and put our minds together to really brainstorm all these ideas. But let me share a couple things that you can explore starting today. So one of the things that I love is live video. And if you've been following me for any length of time, you know that I'm all about repurposing your content, creating something with the express purpose of turning it into something else. For example, this video will become an audio that's going to go over on my podcast as a bonus episode. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you do so because those bonus episodes go out first to my podcast subscribers. So you can go to your favorite platform. My preference is Apple Podcasts. It's native on my phone and all my devices. So it's the easiest thing for me to be able to use and access. You may like something like Spotify. The podcast is called Amplify You're Awesome. And it's really about ways to help you take your message and then put some work in on the back end, usually automatically, and turning that into something else, right? So I'm all about automation along with the repurposing and having systems in our businesses that help us do those things. And I have a piece of software, for instance, that as soon as I'm done here, it's going to take this video, save a backup over in a place like Dropbox, because let's face it, with more people hopping on to social media and more people using the internet these days, things may happen. So I always want to make sure that if I'm going to show up and provide value and, serve all of you, I want to make sure that I have a backup of my stuff in a place where I can always access it. And for me, that is over in Dropbox. If you're curious to know about that tool, message me. I'm happy to let you know more about that and why I love it so much. It's just been an amazing tool. That tool can also send this video from Facebook directly over to YouTube. It can pull out the audio automatically and turn it into a format that I can then use on the podcast. So it does some really amazing things. You can resize, you can take little bits and pieces and chunk things out. So literally from one video, I can get, 20 or 30 different individual pieces that I can then sprinkle out across different platforms and even share offline in a format like a print book, right? There's lots of ways to slice and dice this thing. So as your kiddos are home, my recommendation is for you to find some resources, and I'll just tell you one right now. Adobe has opened up their Creative Suite so kids can go in and start working on some graphic designs. Another free resource is Canva. Your kiddos can go in there and start creating things, whether you need things for your business or they want to just go create some artwork for their wall. Rather than going and looking on Amazon and buying a piece, what if they could just design their own, right? If you follow me over on Instagram at Amplify You're Awesome, you'll have seen that yesterday, my youngest, who is now 13, she created a little video from a free resource called PicCollage. And it's just a little animated video and it says happy first day of spring or something like that. She was so excited when she did. She's really eager to create in that platform. She can in there playing around, putting pictures together, adding animations. It's really a cool feature. And I know it can sometimes be scary to let our kids navigate this online space. However, you can start having conversations with your kiddos and finding out what lights them up. It's going to be a really good starting place to start looking for some tools. And like I said, I'm going to be putting some amazing tools and resources on my website, probably later today. But again, if you want to know when that hits so you can go out there and grab some tools right away, make sure you get on our email list. Just let me know below or send me a message. Let me know you would like access to that, and I'm happy to share it because now more than ever, it's time for us to show up, to share our talents and gifts, and to really open up these lines of communication. Because what I'm seeing so much right now is this collaborative spirit. Someone reached out to me this morning. We had connected before, and she's putting together some cool learning resources for kids, totally free. And she invited me to be part of that, knowing that I have such a heart for kids and really showing them how to use technology in interesting ways. Let me give you a little bit of a backstory if you don't already know the story of how our young creators came to being. It really was sort of an experiment. My youngest was 11 at the time. My oldest was 14. And I was at a place in my brick and mortar business, which I ran for 17 years, where I was coming to the end of my contract with my virtual assistant. And I wasn't really sure how I wanted that to go. I wasn't really committed to needing to go through and train someone else and really, onboard them in a really good way. I just wasn't feeling it. And even though I have systems and training videos and manuals in place, I really just was feeling like, you know what, I need to try something else. So I approached both of my daughters and kind of asked them different questions. And they didn't immediately say yes to me to diving in and doing things with me in my business. But really, it was my youngest who first decided she was going to do this. I kind of approached it as, hey, how would you feel about spending time with me on the couch and I can show you how to do some cool things? And at 11, she was still wanting to snuggle up and be really snuggly. So that was a good opportunity for us to literally sit shoulder to shoulder with each of our laptops open, and we could create things together. It was really just an awesome bonding experience. And after I shared the story of how she was helping me and she was creating things like my presentations for master classes and online events, she was creating all these for me on the back end and she was loving it. When I started sharing with other business owners, they got intrigued as well. And they started training their own kids on how to do what they do best. Some were web designers, some did different things, but they were really invested in bringing their kids into their businesses in meaningful ways, not just, filing papers away, but helping them create things that they could use in their businesses, like videos, like podcasts. And to this date, my kids have helped various entrepreneurs across the globe do things like manage their podcasts, create graphics for Pinterest and different social media platforms. They have done blog management where they're taking someone's video and putting it on their website and then, transcribing it and turning it into a blog post. So just because our kids are little does not mean that they shouldn't be shown these skills. And yes, they feel very grown up and they feel very big and serious. But let's face it, our kids are native on their devices these days and they take to these things like a fish to water, right? It's so easy for them. I think I've heard the saying go where, if you don't know how to use your new smartphone, grab a 5-year-old and they can navigate it and do more than you thought your phone could do in 5 minutes flat, then you're going to discover in 5 weeks, right? They just are really natural on these devices. So this is a really good time to start letting them explore, start letting them create. I'm all about this idea of raising creators, kids who can think outside the box, kids who see opportunities, kids who have big dreams. And we can start fostering that right now in this time, even though it feels a little bit scary, it feels a little bit uncertain. The one thing we know is our kids are going to grow up regardless. Wouldn't it be better if we equipped and empowered them now to start using these tools when they have access to them, when you're there to look over their shoulder to make sure they're heading in the right direction? Wouldn't that be better than letting them, watch TV mindlessly for hours a day? Right now we are not doing any schooling. My oldest actually is still doing her college classes. Her college converted all to online classes. Her high school classes, of course, are closed. And we're thinking, they said the last meeting, they said, it was going to be probably about a month. We're now on day 5 of those 4 weeks off. So yes, uncharted territory, but let's navigate this together. Let's put our minds together. Let's let our kids explore together. Let's let them create and show one another what they've discovered and what they're doing, and let them step up to the role of teacher. Because how often do kids get to do that every day? When they can learn a skill and they can show someone else how to do it, their mastery of that skill increases exponentially. And that's the best learning there is. So my friends, I'm going to wrap it up there, but I really would love to continue this dialogue with you. If you want to get access to this list of resources I'm compiling that will go out later today, let me know. I'll make sure I send you an email saying that is ready to go. If you're not subscribed to the podcast yet, you can do that as well. Just head over to my website, yangpratt.com, and right at the top, you can navigate to all the things we have I have lots of new freebies for you there, ideas for you to use in your business to get your kids to help you with. But it's really about opening up this door to the dialogue and to the possibility of what can our kids do? They're so great on technology. How can we use that to their advantage, especially in this time? I'd love to know what ideas you have. Comment below, let me know, and let's continue the discussion. I'll continue to come back here on the page. I've been doing a lot over on my personal page, but let's have some more discussion about this, about getting kids to this place where they can use their devices to be creators and not just consumers. I'll catch you next time, my friends. Cheers.